This is CBN NewsWatch.
And thanks for joining us for CBN NewsWatch. I'm Heather Sells. The House of Representatives has passed a resolution opposing the boycott, divestment, and sanctions movement, also known as BDS. It is a global campaign intended to isolate and economically cripple Israel. As Charlene Aaron reports, passage of the measure exposes divides in the Democrat Party.
The anti-BDS resolution passed overwhelmingly, but 16 Democrats, mostly progressive, voted against the measure. Among them, Representatives Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib, who support the BDS movement. They claim the resolution restricts free speech, and they've co-sponsored their own resolution supporting boycotts. On the House floor, Tlaib invoked boycotts of Nazi Germany and South Africa to oppose the resolution against BDS.
Americans boycotted Nazi Germany in response to dehumanization, imprisonment, and genocide of Jewish people. In the 1980s, many of us in this very body boycotted South African goods in the fight against apartheid.
Supporters of the resolution say BDS is unlike other boycotts because it seeks to delegitimize Israel, the world's only Jewish state. Democratic Representative Ro Khanna tells CBN News the resolution does not restrict free speech and that he's against BDS because it seeks to undermine Israel and the two-state solution.
This resolution in no way undermines the First Amendment. It says if people want to go protest or boycott, they absolutely can. They can even boycott against the United States or against Israel. All it's saying is that it's the sense of Congress that boycott or divestment that delegitimizes Israel isn't going to get us to a two-state solution and isn't what the Congress should be supporting.
Some lawmakers called for more, seeking passage of a bill that gives state and local governments the right not to do business with companies that participate in BDS, a measure that has already passed the Senate.
The bill that actually puts teeth in the law to stand up against the BDS movement all around the world.
But Democratic leadership is blocking that piece of legislation from coming to the floor. Khanna says the issue does reflect a divide in the Democratic Party.
There is. I'm going to be candid. I mean, this is an issue that has divided the Democratic caucus. There are those of us like me who believe that the United States and Israel have a special relationship. There are other Democrats who believe that boycott and divestment is the right strategy. I mean, obviously there is a difference of opinion, but I think the vast majority of Democrats have my view.
In August, Tlaib and Omar are scheduled to visit Israel, including the West Bank. Israel says despite its policy of not allowing supporters of BDS in the country, the two representatives will be allowed to visit out of respect for the U.S. Congress. Charlene Aaron, CBN News.
Also in Washington, special counsel Robert Mueller testified for hours before two congressional committees today. The subject, his investigation of Russian collusion in the 2016 campaign. Mueller disagreed with President Trump's claim of total exoneration, saying it's not what his Russia report said.
So the report did not conclude that he did not commit obstruction of justice. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And what about total exoneration? Did you actually totally exonerate the president?
No.
Let me ask you,
But Texas Congressman Louis Gohmert defended the president, saying he was acting as any innocent person would.
And if somebody knows they did not conspire with anybody from Russia to affect the election, and they see the big Justice Department with people that hate that person coming after them, and then a special counsel appointed who hires dozen or more people that hate that person, and he knows he's innocent. What he's doing is not obstructing justice. He is pursuing justice, and the fact that you ran it out 2 years means you perpetuated injustice.
Well, in other news, the political sparring between the president and the four Democrats known as the Squad has now gone well beyond the 24-hour news cycle. As CBN News senior political analyst David Brody reports, neither side appears to be backing down.
Racism in politics. Not a day goes by nowadays without the toxic subject making an appearance. The latest entry, a presidential tweet calling Muslim Congresswoman Ilhan Omar America-hating and an anti-Semite, and Omar firing back.
right now, even when we're talking about the president, people will say, you know, his remarks are racist, and will forget the inherent racism that has always been part of him.
Also part of the latest back and forth, Trump tweeting how Omar and her liberal freshman squad members are a nightmare for America.
I think it's clear that President Trump wants to make a foil out of the squad.
Caitlin Conan is the political director for CBS News. Trump has no doubt taken what he views as the squad's anti-American views and morphed it from a news cycle to both a news cyclone and a new contour for the 2020 race. But will that guarantee a second term?
In 2016, President Trump won election in large part due to independence. And I think they would probably rather be talking about the economy, the courts, than having this Twitter fight play out between the president and the squad.
But conservative groups see an opening. They found these comments that Palestinian Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib made a few months ago.
I'm more Palestinian in the halls of Congress than I am anywhere in the country, in the world.
The material is not hard to find. In the research for this story, we came across this interview from Ilhan Omar when she was running for Congress.
A lot of conservatives in particular would say that the rise in Islamophobia is a result not of hate, but of fear, a legitimate fear, they say, of quote-unquote jihadist terrorism, whether it's Fort Hood or San Bernardino or the recent truck attack in New York. What do you say to them?
I would say our country should be more fearful of white men across our country, because they are actually causing most of the deaths within this country. We should be profiling, monitoring, and creating policies to fight the radicalization of white men.
Omar is also now the center of an ethics complaint filed by the conservative group Judicial Watch. It's over allegations that the Somalian-born congresswoman may have married her biological brother and in the process committed perjury, immigration fraud, and marriage fraud. Reporters like Jeff Mason of Reuters know this is just the beginning of a fight relished by the White House.
In general, I think they've been relatively happy with how the last week has gone. I mean, a lot of controversy for sure, but it's coming down to be a clear part of his strategy going into the 2020 campaign.
As this political food fight plays out, here is something to keep in mind. The president may be toxic and despised by liberals, but his approval rating is far higher than anyone from the squad. Recent polling shows the highest of any squad member is AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. She clocks in at a whopping 23%. David Brody, CBN News, Washington.
Turning overseas now, Britain's new Prime Minister Boris Johnson is getting ready to pick his cabinet. He is an American supporter and has defended President Trump. He's also vowed to make Brexit happen in 3 months. But as Dale Hurd reports, his first big challenge is Iran.
Boris Johnson arrives at number 10 Downing Street at a challenging time for any new prime minister, with fears that war could break out with Iran. Iran's Revolutionary Guard seized a British-flagged oil tanker in the Strait of Hormuz last Friday, revenge for the British seizure of an Iranian tanker off Gibraltar earlier this month. But Boris Johnson has already signaled he's no hawk on Iran. During last week's TV debates, Johnson said he would not support U.S. military action against Iran. And in 2018, then Foreign Minister Johnson traveled to Washington to try to persuade President Trump to stay in the Iran nuclear deal, and said the British government remained committed to the deal. As for his pledge to leave the European Union by October 31st, no matter what, Johnson inherits the same divided Conservative Party in Parliament that helped stymie and finally bring down Prime Minister Theresa May. Johnson may also be handed a no-confidence vote and early election within weeks. But he does have a friend across the Atlantic.
I like him. I like Boris Johnson. Boris, I spoke to him yesterday. I think he's going to do a great job. I think we're going to have a great relationship.
And that irks a lot of people in the British establishment. A BBC interviewer tried to get Johnson to say something bad about President Trump. When he wouldn't, it prompted this exchange.
Will you be as craven if you were Prime Minister?
I've been, towards the United States of America, craven.
Towards anybody who's powerful in the world.
Don't be ridiculous, if I may say so. When it comes to sticking up for UK interests, whether it's over climate change or over disputes with Iran, over the Iran nuclear deal. We have been very, very forthright with the United States of America.
In 2015, Johnson accused Trump of stupefying ignorance and said Trump was unfit to hold the office of President of the United States. The former mayor of London, known for his occasionally wacky style, has adopted a populism that so far has served him well. But now as Prime Minister, he must navigate through an international crisis as possible war clouds loom. Dale Hurd, CBN News.
And here at home, a federal judge in North Carolina has weighed in on the controversial bathroom issue, approving a legal settlement that allows transgender people to use the restroom of their choice. In return, the ACLU and LGBTQ activists have agreed to drop pending legal action against the governor for the controversial 2016 bathroom bill. The settlement applies only to bathrooms in buildings controlled by officials from the executive branch. That includes state offices in Raleigh, highway rest stops, state parks, and historic sites. A big slap on the wrist for Facebook today. In a settlement with the tech giant, federal regulators are fining Facebook $5 billion, mainly for privacy violations. The deal also requires Facebook to develop an extensive set of compliance measures designed to increase user privacy. The Federal Trade Commission opened an investigation into Facebook last year after revelations that a data mining firm had obtained details on as many as 87 million users without their permission. The fine is the largest the FTC has ever placed on a tech company. Coming up, what Americans know and don't know about Christianity and other religions from around the world.
Introducing the CBN Bible from CBN.com. Now, an easier way to study the Bible and grow in your faith. Highlight your favorite verse. Read separate versions at a glance. Click and read a commentary. Or cross-reference your favorite verse using the Strong's Concordance. All the right tools to study the Bible, all in one place. The CBN Bible, available at cbn.com/Bible or the iTunes App Store.
It has the power to influence weight loss, boost your immune system, and improve brain function.
We've seen an explosion of data on the role of the gut microbiome in health.
The free Build a Better Gut booklet reveals the latest information about the gut microbiome. You'll discover how your gut affects the rest of your health.
The gut microbiome has been linked to depression and cancer and heart disease.
Learn how to build a stronger, healthier gut.
The microbiome, if it's in good composition, are really protecting us all the time from more invasive things.
Get the Build a Better Gut booklet, free from the Christian Broadcasting Network. Call 1-800-700-7000 or go to cbn.com/buildabettergut.
You need to make sure that your microbes are working with you, not against you.
And if you order online, you'll get immediate access to the Build a Better Gut series, a digital copy of the booklet, and related bonus material. Build a Better Gut today. Call 1-800-700-7000 or go to cbn.com/buildabettergut for your free copy.
Here, we're committed to a heritage of rigorous scholarship dating back over 1,000 years.
And to a faith tradition dating back 1,000 more.
This is how we create a culture of inquiry where no topic is off limits.
And a culture of hope.
Anything's possible!
It's Christian leadership.
And it's changing the world for the better.
It's higher learning.
It's greater knowing.
It's what makes us whole.
It's what makes us Regent.
The Pew Research Center says a new survey shows that most Americans can answer basic questions about Christianity and the Bible, even about Islam, but few know much about Judaism, Buddhism, and Hinduism. There's other gaps as well. Most Americans don't know what the Constitution says about religion as it relates to elected officials. That is, they don't know that no religious test is necessary for holding public office. Also, when it comes to favorable feelings, Americans are most favorable towards Jews, Catholics, and mainline Protestants. They're less favorably inclined towards evangelical Christians, Buddhists, and Hindus. Joining us now with more on this is Becca Alper with the Pew Research Center. Becca, talk first of all about why you wanted to do this survey. It's interesting because it's a little different from what you normally do.
That's right. Our surveys often ask people their opinions about a wide range of topics, but this one was different. We asked 32 fact-based questions to nearly 11,000 U.S. adults. related to religion.
You were just overall trying to understand people's views and not their views, but what they understand about world religions. You also looked at their feelings, as we mentioned just a minute ago. Talk about what you found with respect to evangelical Christians.
So broadly speaking, we asked on the survey something called a feeling thermometer, where people rate their feelings towards a variety of religious groups. We asked about 9, ranging from 0, which represents the coolest feelings, to 100, which represents the warmest feelings. And we find that those who answer more religious knowledge questions correctly have warmer feelings towards most of those 9 religious groups we asked about. But we find the inverse is true when it comes to evangelicals. We find that those who answer the highest number of religious, I'm sorry, let me rephrase this. Those who get the highest number of questions about religious knowledge right have the coolest feelings towards evangelicals.
So, okay, so in other words, people who are more knowledgeable about religion in general have more negative feelings about evangelicals. Did you unpack that anymore?
Yeah, our data suggests that this is a story about partisanship. When we divide up non-evangelicals into Republicans and Democrats, we find that non-evangelical Republicans follow the basic pattern we found for the public overall, where people who answer more questions right feel warmer towards evangelicals. But among non-evangelical Democrats, those who answer the most questions right have cooler feelings. And so this is really, and Democrats make up a majority of non-evangelicals in our sample.
Really interesting. You also found you looked at the education of different Christians and broke that down, and you found that affects their understanding of the Bible. Talk about that a little bit.
Sure. We touched on different aspects of education. We asked people, how often do you do things to learn about your own religion? This includes, listening to podcasts or searching on websites or reading books. And we find that people who spend more time learning about their own religion, answer more questions right about the 14 questions in particular that we asked on the Bible and Christianity. We also find that Christians who attended a religious private school when they were growing up answer more questions right than those who did not. And Christians who attended a Sunday school or CCD or something similar for more years got more questions right on average.
All right, so it looks like education does make a difference. Becca Alper with the Pew Research Center, thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Still ahead, Christian music artist Andrew McMahon on his journey with his faith and music and life events that have shaped his work.
Life. It's meant to be lived fully. Jesus said it. I came to give you life. Life to the fullest. Life in your family. Life in your finances. Life in your body, mind, and spirit. Life in your everyday. At CBN.com, we're taking what Jesus said seriously. We're here to help you discover life. Life. Live it fully. CBN.com. Want to be a part of a community that inspires your spiritual growth while winning prizes? The all-new MyCBN app. Connect with the community for prayer and encouragement. Track and set spiritual goals. Enjoy conversation starters with friends and family. And collect points to win prizes. The all-new MyCBN app. A great place to belong. Download the app at cbn.com/mobile. Grow, connect, have fun. The all-new MyCBN app.
Watch breaking news, in-depth exclusive stories and programs, from health to entertainment, you won't find anywhere else. The CBN News Channel, a perspective you can trust. Enjoy credible news reporting from around the world. Discover inspiring programs and stories of hope, all in one place, from a Christian perspective. The CBN News Channel, a perspective you can trust. Check your local listings or visit cbnnewschannel.com.
Come home to the sounds of Southern Gospel from CBN Radio. You'll enjoy a rich Southern blend of bluegrass, classic gospel, and Southern gospel favorites like the Gaithers, the Crab Family, and bluegrass sounds like Mountain Faith. So make yourself at home with the all-new CBN Southern Gospel. Now available at cbnradio.com.
Christian artist Andrew McMahon has always had a passion for music. Our Ephraim Graham sat down with him to talk music, faith, and life in our latest Studio 5.
Andrew McMahon began creating music the moment he learned to play the piano.
I mean, it was truthfully the only thing I ever really wanted to do. I started writing songs when I was a kid. I was, I think just turned 9 years old. And it was kind of like this puzzle piece that came together. As soon as I wrote that first song, it was like, wow, this is who I am. You know what I mean? It felt like unlocking my identity, I suppose.
He's recorded 3 albums with Something Corporate, 3 albums with Jack's Mannequin, and 3 albums with his current project. There are no signs of stopping.
There's nothing to me in this world that feels the same as connecting to a crowd full of people playing music.
Studio 5 joined him on tour for his newest album, Upside Down Flowers.
Upside Down Flowers, it was sort of like this thing that kind of fell out of the sky. A lot of it, I think, is reflective of Southern California and sort of why I live where I live and why I love the characters that I'm surrounded by on a daily basis. But yeah, it was a very freeing process to make the record.
Andrew's life took a sharp turn in June of 2005. Doctors diagnosed him with leukemia.
It was sort of this just complete 180-degree shift. And in a weird way, I think it was the definitive ending of my youth. I think for as fast as I got better, I expected that I could just reclaim all of that stuff that was, ahead of finding out I was sick. And what took me years to realize was no, your life is different now. Your consciousness is different. You think about things differently because once you see, get so close to mortality, you just change, And then I built this life post-cancer that after a number of years I started looking back and going oh, this is a good life.
A year later, Andrew began the Dear Jack Foundation to help children and young adults in their cancer battles.
Well, the mission is pretty basic. I mean, it's to advocate for adolescents and young adults who are facing cancer, so people who are 15 to 39 years of age. We want to give them a voice. We want to tell people that they're under-researched, that their social needs are rarely met in hospital and after.
The foundation has 2 programs. The Life List, to help patients set goals for themselves during treatment.
It's basically a list that we work on with them to give them bright days throughout their treatment to sort of, help make it so you can have a good day in the middle of some of your worst.
And Breathe Now, a retreat for survivors and their partners as they restart their lives together after surviving cancer.
For me and my wife, it was a really, really difficult transition, figuring out, how are we married post-cancer? And what you realize is that the partners of survivors are oftentimes, are dealing with just as much post-traumatic stress.
Dear Jack began as a campaign by some of his fans. It continues to grow.
I started bringing staff on and hiring some amazing people with with a skill set that I don't have from an organizational standpoint to help bring that mission to life. And the organization has grown, I think, year over year by between 25 to 100% every year.
And most recently,
this year alone, we raised nearly $1 million.
Andrew knows firsthand the importance of a strong support system.
Whether it be cancer, music, marriage, whatever it is, I just have a really, really amazing support structure. I had the good fortune of a support system that was bulletproof. I had about the best case scenario you could have for, both social support and for medical support. There are very few people who are as fortunate as I was, and even as fortunate as I was, getting on the other side of it, I was still totally lost. It makes me a good candidate to speak on the issue because it's very easy for me to see the gaps, even as a person who was so lucky. And so I feel now so empowered because of all of that support that I had, to be able to look at other people's situations and go like, wow, we could do better for people.
You can catch more of Studio 5 tonight on the CBN News Channel with Ephraim Graham. It is at 9:30 Eastern. Coming up, some good news from gospel artist Tamela Mann that has her fans praising the Lord.
Life. It's meant to be lived fully. Jesus said it. I came to give you life. Life to the fullest. Life in your family. Life in your finances. Life in your body, mind, and spirit. Life in your everyday. At CBN.com, we're taking what Jesus said seriously. We're here to help you discover life. Life. Live it fully. CBN.com.
On October 1st, 1961, history was made when a tiny station began transmitting the first signals of the Christian Broadcasting Network.
CBN, the Christian Broadcasting Network.
And now, a new era has begun with the all-new CBN News Channel.
Just moments ago, the Iron Dome intercepted an incoming rocket right on the Gaza border.
In ministering in this area, spiritual warfare is definitely involved.
A 24/7 news network, bringing you the news you want from a source you can trust.
In Kenya, 40% of the medical services are actually provided by these Christian hospitals.
Let's talk about the economy.
Believers here are joining together to win people to Jesus Christ.
All your favorite shows now in one place. Go to CBNNewsChannel.com to find out how to get the CBN News Channel on your TV all day, every day. CBN News.
Grammy Award-winning gospel recording artist Tamela Mann is praising God during her recent recovery from surgery. Mann underwent a double knee replacement. She posted a picture from the hospital on Instagram and told all her followers she was thankful for their support. She wrote, "I just love everybody. I just thank my family and all you guys' prayers out there and all the calls I got. I really appreciated, and I couldn't have made it without everybody, so thank you so much." Mann's latest update shows her walking for the first time since the surgery in their home, and the singer will be taking a break from her busy schedule to recover. That is it for this edition of NewsWatch. You can find more on the issues that you care about most at CBNNews.com, and you can watch CBN News programs anytime on our CBN News channel. Plus, tell us what you think about the stories that you have seen right here by emailing us at newswatch@cbn.com or talk to us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We hope that you'll join us next time. Have a great day.